it'll drop out for a minute and then it'll be back.
Try to catch me riding dirty. Try to catch me riding dirty.
What does that mean?
Try to catch me riding dirty. Well, is it?
I think I know what it means.
Is it?
I might not.
See, I can foresee it when I was
correct.
younger, and so your only form of transport was bicycles. If you did an overly wet fart, which resulted in maybe a slight spatter.
You believe that the song "Riding Dirty" is about sharting on a push bike?
It's about sort of slightly splattering your pants and then not being able to sit on the saddle, so you have to ride standing up for ages.
Do you not think though that
I don't think
doing a tiny shart, or the belief that you may have done, though often you actually haven't, just the prospect that maybe it's just gone a bit.
It's just
fart
air.
has gone lumpy.
It's just air.
Nothing will make a grown person freeze like that. Just for a brief moment. But if you were, say, on a push bike at high speed,
you
pause. You did it, and then there was you pause. It's almost like it's like the human brain and nervous system is like the multiplex wiring in cars. It prioritises sometimes, and you would prioritise going, what was that? And even if there was a brick wall coming up, I think you'd just hit the brick wall because you'd be too busy your brain going, was that a sharp bang?
I think you'd stand on the cranks and you'd pause and you'd look like a meerkat, like that. You go, oh no, is that what I think it is?
They see me sharding.
Yeah. So I think that's what that song's about, in essence.
Well, let's just say it could be.
Because E17 video trouser wearing always looked like one had left half a packet of shredded wheat in one trouser.
Like when a toddler needs a nappy change.
Oh, it's awful.
And they're visibly sort of dragging a huge extra weight around with them. Yes, E17 did look like toddlers who'd shat their pants through.
Do you remember in the 90s there was this obsession with I can't believe it's not butter, and then other.
I think we've grown to accept that it is not butter now.
Other pretenders of that brand, because for some reason everyone thought butter was very bad for you. Little did we realise in moderation it's absolutely fine. I mean,
that's delicious.
And you certainly shouldn't be, you shouldn't be scooping in kilos of margarine instead. But I can't believe it's not butter had lots of great pretenders. Somebody reminded me this a while ago. Where have they all gone? Like,
I don't remember this.
Piss off! That's not butter. And you don't remember that supermarket's own brand that weren't.
Okay. All sort of rhetorical.
I can't believe it's not butter, and it's like I don't believe it. There's no butter in this. Something like that.
Off-brand.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds not quite right. Heavens, is there no butter whatsoever in this? Are you sure? Question mark. Bit unwieldy, Steve. It's all we've got, mate, okay? Otherwise we're copyright infringing. I can't help you.
And that they always kept the same colours. Yellow box, blue writing. Get out of town.
Oh,
there has to be butter in this. It's small writing, but there isn't. No, it's a bit wordy. It's a little bit wordy.
It's a little bit wordy.
And it could
we
get
just
really
go
coarse.
Back to...
Fuck off, that's not butter.
Yeah. Shitting hell, this tastes buttery, considering there's no butter in it, guaranteed.
Fuck the butter off.
If you're about to tell me this hasn't got butter in it, I will fucking fight you. Right, listen, head office wants a rebrand on this. It's not working. They've suggested we go with, I'd like to apologise for my earlier remarks about this spread where I may have suggested I would become physically violent if there was butter in it. I now accept there is no butter in it.
How do you feel about, and I know I do this myself, when you've got a particularly gassy burp,
Yeah.
or I had a packet of Frazzles an hour ago, or I've had a falafel, and you know that they repeat, don't you? Falafels are great, but they repeat like crazy. You do the sideways exit burp in the same way that, do you remember, like bus exhausts and certain cars of the 80s and 90s would push it out directionally out of the exhaust, the fumes. I do a gassy burp, and like if I'm talking to you, I'd sort of do anyway, I'd go, and I'd find myself.
Oh yeah, you're trying to fire it away.
I'd exit it blatantly to the other way.
Yeah, fire it out to sea. Yeah. That's
Do
absolutely
people
standard.
normally do that?
I
A side
think that's
exit.
Perfectly normal.
Do you?
Perfectly normal. Yeah. Trouble is, often it blows back. Like I might do it. I'll do it, but I sort of try and blow it into the ground when I'm lying in bed, if you know what I mean. So you just sort of try and fire it into the mattress.
What?
Yeah, and then my wife always goes, "Did you just burp?" I'm like, yeah, how do you know? She went, "I can smell it."
I was back.
So, oh yeah, well we have fish carrier. Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
The method has clearly failed, I would suggest, in that instance.
In a way, I find it more unpleasant to walk into a cloud of someone else's burp gas than to walk into a fart. It feels like there's something thicker and meatier about a burp gas cloud that's going to cling to you.
They've got those adverts for pants that men can buy that
I always thought that was a joke.
absorb guffs. And I'm thinking, that's not solving the problem.
No.
The problem is if they're that unholy, what are you putting in your mouth? It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose
What
so.
on earth are you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, went down to see my mum and dad quite recently
Yeah.
in the West Country, and I grew up in a village where there was a heritage steam train.
Oh.
Quite cool. Didn't realise how special it was at the time until I realised that not every village has a heritage steam railway. But one thing I've realised, and tell me I'm wrong, it's perfectly legit to wave at strangers when you are on a steam train.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But if you take that scenario away from a steam train, even if it was a normal train,
That would be weird.
that would be
Unless you're a
weird.
child, but yeah. An adult waving at strangers from a
Yep.
conventional train.
But also,
weird.
we wave as pedestrians at the steam train occupants.
Yes.
And I'm waving at other adults that I don't know who they are. And we're all smiling and it's nice. It's not
Interesting,
weird.
isn't it?
It's not weird.
Yeah. But
If I wave at that guy over there now, who's coming out of Greg's,
mm,
he'd be like, no,
no,
don't wave at
that'd
me.
be really weird. I think also, not quite the same extreme, but if you, as a pedestrian, waved cheerily, with a certain sort of cheery mania at people on a normal double-decker bus, they'd think you were nutty.
That's true.
But if they were on a lovely old vintagey bus,
Oh.
then that's sort of acceptable.
So why is this? Do we think we're on the
I
set
think it's
of
the
Good Night, Sweetheart?
it's the difference between leisure and function.
Escape.
People on lovely old steam train, they're there for a good time. So they're cheery and upbeat, and the cares of the world are temporarily taken away from them. So they're in a waving kind of mood.
The joy's in the journey, not the destination.
Yeah. If you're on a normal train, you've got to go somewhere, and it might not be somewhere you want to go, and you're thinking about work, or you're thinking about you're on your way to a funeral or something. So it's arduous, and it's not a cheery thing.
But the pros
That's
are
the best theory I can come up with at short notice, because otherwise you're right. The cheery waving out. Do you know what?
strangers, adults, children.
I was on a train recently. I was on the train back from Cardiff, and you get that thing where sometimes you're on an intercity train, and it goes past a local train, And often the speed differential is such that you don't go past it a
No.
flick, you go past it. It's a gentle overtake.
It is.
And nothing fills me with the desire to flick V's at strangers like that.
I do that
I just
with
want to go, you're on a slower train. Bye then! And I know it's childish. I've never done it.
What about two tubes where they split?
Yeah.
And they're illuminated, so they see you, you see them.
Camden Town, if you're familiar with that station on the Northern Line, very good for that. You quite often seem to come parallel to another train that's in the bit where there's a tunnel is suddenly merged into one tunnel, just briefly,
That's
and then they
right.
disappear, and then a wall comes in, and that's it, they're gone.
Yeah.
Because it's often crossed my mind that on a quiet tube, you could, if you just catch the eye of the person in the train, you could just go, ugh,
You could.
and never see them again. And you just thought, actually, what would happen is you'd get off at Camden Town, and they'd be standing there, and they'd wallop you.
They would be. They'd stand in there and they'd be tapping a bat into their head. like an 80s Street Fighter.
That actually happened when I was a kid.
Well, you got hit.
Someone on the school bus flicked the V's at pedestrians as the bus was pulling away.
Mm-hmm.
But then just down the street, the bus got stuck in traffic, and this bloke came up and got on the bus.
To get on.
Bollocked the kids. We thought it was quite funny because it was a classic case of not thinking ahead as to what might happen in an urban environment, that a bus was not going to roar away and immediately join the M1 and get you far, far away from an angry pedestrian.
I got two bus stories.
Go on.
One was I used to go to secondary school on a bus, so we'd have to catch it from our village and it would go about 10 miles. And one day my mate, when it dropped us all off and we walked behind the bus to join the path, my mate was like, I'm just going to get on the back of it. Driver won't see. He climbed onto the back. We always had 70s or, if we were lucky, an 80s bus. A lot of old-fashioned, really quite... Thinking back now, one of them was called the Heidi High bus. It was properly old-fashioned, like an old tour bus. He got on the back.
Lead people to mistakenly wave at you.
Well, no, nobody did wave at it.
What a jaunty old bus. Oh, wait. It's taking
We
people
did used to wave at people, and my mate did once, spend several days just flicking the V's at all drivers. But he got on the back of the bus, and the bus started pulling away, and just hadn't worked out what he was going to do next. And the bus went off down the road, and he was still on it, holding onto the back window with his feet on the bumper. And it must have got up to about 25 miles an hour.
I bet that felt like 250.
He did the wrong thing. Instead of waiting for it to stop, he just jumped off.
Oh, God.
And just went like a sack of...
Holy shit.
Well, he landed on his face.
Was he hurt?
A little bit. He just went home and apparently made a Victoria sponge and ate all of it. And that's genuinely true. That's what he did.
Interesting response to trauma.
He was a very cool kid. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I forgot to set my alarm when I was at college, and we were going on a college trip to Birmingham to some media event that I've actually forgotten what it was. It was of high importance. My mum got a phone call at the house to say, "Where is he? Is he nearly there?" And I was just asleep in bed. So she woke me with an absolute rollicking to say, "You better, I've called your father." Dad had gone to work. Got Dad out of work. They said the bus is already leaving. And my mum, because she was so cross, she said, "You are still going?" And I went, "Oh." So my dad got in the car and we chased the bus and rendezvoused with it between Somerset and Birmingham, around the Gloucester area.
Okay.
And had to basically go alongside it.
And then you climbed.
All my college mates just pointed and laughed at me because my dad was trying to do some sort of shit Fast and Furious reenactment. And yeah, pulled over to the hard shoulder, and I got on the bus to a massive cheer. And the reason why everyone found it even funnier than most was because only the year before we'd gone on a field trip to London, and I'd forgotten where we were supposed to get on the bus, and I missed it, and I had to get taken home by the police.
All the way to Somerset?
Well, I got picked up. I turned myself into Tottenham Court Police Station and I said, look, basically I don't know where the bus is and I've forgotten. I was listening to a personal stereo when I was being told where to rendezvous. I remember this now. That was mistake number one.
On behalf of your teachers, can I be the first to say you absolute
Oh,
spanner?
I'm a total flute. And then the police were like, well, because you're under 18, we're going to have to take you in. Okay, took it in. And then they'd arranged via the college to drop me off at a bus station and get a night bus, and they had to take me there and physically put me on the bus.
Holy shit.
Okay, but get this. On the way to Victoria Station, they had a Blues and Twos call. I was in the back of the police car. This is mega. I was only 16, I think. Back of the police car, we were going hammer and tongs through the central London, and on the way to it, I remember two guys were having a massive scrap outside a pub, and one was either glassing the other one or doing something quite brutal. And I remember this to this day. They screeched the car out with the lights on. They were already on the way to another job. The policeman and the passenger got out, grabbed the guy that was punching the other guy, and handcuffed him to a railing.
What?
And then said, we'll be back in 1 minute. And got back in the car. And they went on, dropped me off. We skidded into Victoria Station and went, get on that bus right now. And they had to watch me get on the bus. I had to just sprint onto a bus where there was somebody waiting for me. And then they just screeched back at the car park and went, I don't know where they went. Presumably to go get the guy who was chained to a railing.
Holy shit.
It was brilliant. But I got the piss ripped out of me for the next 2 years at college, sadly.
Wow.
For missing bus and then missing other bus. Bus misser.
Do you know what happened to me the other day after we'd been driving around in your Dodge Charger? I fell down my annual Dukes of Hazzard wormhole on the internet.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I mean...
Did you?
Yeah, and
That's
it wouldn't
great.
go away because what happened was I lost, probably half a day, and I had quite a lot of work on.
Half a day?
Yeah, I was just dicking around. I found this thing and I was just kept looking for more pictures of crashed General Lees from behind the scenes. I started looking for the jumps done by the models, and I found some good behind the scenes footage of that.
See, I didn't know that they did that. I
Then-
genuinely didn't know.
I found just a whole thread on a Dukes of Hazzard forum of behind the scenes pictures, and it was like 60 pages or something. I thought, I've got to stop. I've got to stop looking at this and do some work. So I stopped at about page 15
And then?
and went back to work, and I did some work, and I got what I needed to do done, mostly, minus the morning I'd lost looking at Dukes of Hazzard stuff. But then the next day I'd left the tab open in my internet browser, and I went, oh well, before I get down to work I'll just have a quick look at some more pictures of Dukes of Hazzard shit.
It's amazingly compelling.
And there was another few hours gone. I was like,
Right.
what is wrong with me?
Do you own any Dukes memorabilia?
No.
None.
No. No. I've just...
Just have something on your desk that you look at.
Well,
and
no,
it
because
almost-
then I'll look at it and go, well, that's a good idea. I will inexplicably spend a morning looking up, finding like an interview with one of the stunt drivers or something.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's like, before you know it, I am destitute because I'm not earning any money as a freelance writer. And it turns out there's not much call for someone who knows a great deal about how they prepared police cars for the Dukes of Hazzard stunts and crashes.
I want to go to...
Real police cars, by the way.
Were they?
Yeah, they just used to buy knackered old police cars from various forces and then just respray them to be
Wow.
appropriate colours for the show. Ask me another one. I've got it all. This thing. Also, do you know what happens is I look this
I know
stuff
when
up, I
they
remember it
found
for
Lee-
a bit, and then I
when-
lose it. I
When
have to
they
look it up
found
again.
Lee 1,
Yes.
there was at least one of the original first series police stunt cars,
Yes, they were
Were they?
AMC Matadors, and the stunt drivers didn't like them,
didn't they?
and they switched to Plymouth Furies.
They're the Furies. Why? Were they stronger or quicker? Or...
I couldn't get to the bottom of that. I better go back and check.
Yes, I was going to say.
I know.
Have you got 3 spare hours?
Yeah.